I'm Derek Huff from Dancing with the Stars. One of my favorite memories of being on the show was working with Amy Purdy, who was a Paralympian. She was a huge inspiration to so many. She really introduced me into the world of the Paralympics. Listen to Equal 2 on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere that you listen to podcasts. The 6-part series that explores the biggest challenges faced by the disabled community and starts a conversation about what is needed to drive equality.
Procter & Gamble is sponsoring this important podcast, and they too are working to make a difference for people with disabilities.
What feeling do you get when you drive the 575 horsepower supercharged V8 Jaguar F-Type R? All of them. Discover the powerful performance that makes driving a Jaguar like no other sports car in the world. Learn more at JaguarUSA.com.
Millions of Americans are getting back to work. CareerBuilder calls it the Great Rehire. And we want to help you get the best jobs before everyone else. CareerBuilder gives you the competitive edge to get the job you want, at the salary you want, with the benefits you want. We even send job alerts, so your perfect job lands right in your inbox. Go to CareerBuilder.com today, or get left with whatever jobs are left. Find your next job fast at CareerBuilder.com.
It's a numbers game with your host, Gil Alexander.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
Good Thursday morning to you. It is a numbers game right here at VEASAN, the Sports Betting Network, just like the man said. VEASAN.com, VEASAN app, Fubo, Sling Game Plus, iHeartRadio, however you're taking us in this morning. We always appreciate it. Good one today, hour number 2. It's a Thursday on a numbers game. You know what that means. Bill Krackomberger, unscripted. I don't know where the Crackman is. We'll have him via Skype because he's somewhere in this great nation of ours, but he is not here in studio today, so we'll have him via Skype. Always fun to talk to Bill, see what he's getting into, and I have no idea where that conversation goes. You know how that works every Thursday. Mark Borchardt will be here to talk baseball with us as well, and get the, among other questions, get the answer from him on Garrett Cole's performance last night. 15K no-walk performance in 7 innings before he was pulled. Does that make him now? All this talk about Lance Lynn and Carlos Rodon and Robbie Ray. I know Mark Borchardt was an early Robbie Ray guy at 100-1. Does that make Garrett Cole the guy in the catbird seat once again for the AL Cy Young Award? And here momentarily, we're going to talk to Bill Connolly. Super excited to talk to Bill, ESPN's college football writer, and, of course, the author, the creator of SP Plus, opponent and tempo-adjusted look at the most sustainable and predictive aspects of college football. Get his thoughts on his favorite season win totals among the Power 5 conferences, and then maybe some other conference bets that we'll try to get to when we get some extra time here with Bill. Also, of course, tennis picks. 3-1 yesterday in the tennis picks. The only one that didn't get there was the plus 400, the plus 401 bomb on Kaya Juvan, but everything else got there before that. Our one favorite on Leila Fernandez on the ladies' side at the U.S. Open, and then the two dogs on the men's side. Henry Laxden at plus 160 versus Christian Garin, won that in 4 sets, and then Peter Gojewicz in a 5-setter against Dusan Lajovic. Yes, I know. We'll spell the names later when we give out the picks. We have 4 more picks. So, by the way, that was that's like a 2.81 unit haul yesterday. Today, 4 more picks, and the weather. We didn't think these matches would get going yesterday because of the Hurricane Ida fallout. But ironically, what happened is the one indoor match last night at Louis Armstrong Stadium between Diego Schwartzman and Kevin Anderson, that was the one that had to get suspended and ultimately finished at Arthur Ashe. But everything outdoors was played, and today the weather looks good. So we have 4 matches, one of which is at the top of the hour on the ladies' side. The other 3 are 3 dogs on the men's side. So that will happen as well this hour. One last note. As we go to the third leg of the FedEx Cup here in golf in Atlanta, the Tour Championship, mentioned this earlier in the week when Wes Reynolds was on, also talked about this on Primetime Action many times. But just a final reminder, if these markets are still up here before the tournament really gets off in earnest, because it might be some stray here before it starts, just know, and know at all times, even through the weekend, if books keep putting up these markets, after round 1, after round 2, and so forth, know which bet you are making this weekend, because one of the markets is just going to be the Tour Championship like any other 72-hole golf tournament without strokes, right? Just everybody starting even. That's going to be one market. The other market really should be called, I wish books were more clear about this, really should be called the to win the FedEx Cup market. But oftentimes it's not called that. That's the market that involves strokes, the staggered start that begins, because it's just the top 30 guys now, where Patrick Cantlay starts at 10 under. 2 strokes behind him is Tony Finau at 8 under. Then Bryson's at 7 under, Jon Rahm 6 under, and so on and so on. So just know which market you are betting. Because let me just tell you, when I went to bet it yesterday, I was like, wait a minute, shouldn't this say to win FedEx Cup? You have to sort of sit there and for an extra beat, just process what it is that you're betting. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be confused on the front side. And I know Sunday evening, when all is said and done, there's going to be some people who thought they won bets or thought they lost bets, and it ends up being the opposite based on the fact they ended up playing the wrong market. So just be super careful about that here, once again, as this tournament gets underway. And remember, there is a situation where someone could be in the catbird seat for the $15 million in the FedEx, and then if they have a big enough lead, sort of take their foot off the pedal so they could win that and not the other one, because someone then late could sort of win the 72-hole tournament but not win the FedEx Cup. I know it's all very confusing, but just really be careful about your golf bets. Just wanted to point that out. All right, let's bring him in. Let's talk some college football. Oh, we don't have him quite yet. Okay, by the way, for those who missed it yesterday, the big announcement here on the show, who's now being puppeteered for the last day from producer number 7, Jason Kahn. And by the way, it is Gil Alexander here on a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, the VSiN app, Fubo, Sling, and Game Plus. Jason Kahn, producer number 7, his last day was 2 days ago, but he's agreed to stay on for 2 more days to sort of ease the transition to producer number 8, Jeffrey Parlay, who was producer number 5 on the show. He is the Grover Cleveland of producers. Chris Felica said I should call him Carl Banks because of 58, but he's the Grover Cleveland of producers. So he is now manning the show here and making sure everything goes smoothly. And so Jeff will join us here momentarily as well to talk all things about his college football bets as well. So that's the main thing about golf. Should we go ahead and give the tennis picks now while we wait for Bill? Should we do that, or do we have Bill, Jeff? Should we wait and give the tennis picks, or let's give the tennis picks now? Might as well do that because again, one of these matches is at the top of the hour. So the match at the top of the hour is on the ladies' side. And all of these, again, for those who have been riding the tennis picks and just tremendous support on Twitter, people have been rolling through this. We are on a run now of, for the last month or so. This is dating back through last week's sort of, very small tournaments in Cleveland and in Chicago and in Winston-Salem, back to Cincinnati the week before that, which is a really big 1,000 tournament on both the ATP and the WTA sides. It's been a heck of a run. Somewhere we're either up 18 units or 16 plus units, depending on where you got the 2 matches where there were withdrawals. We got the worst of those 2 were the player that we had withdrew. And so if you were at a shop that doesn't grade unless a match is completed, it was just a refund. If we were at a shop where one set had to be completed, they were graded as losses. So we're either up 18 plus units or 16 plus units, 21-9-1. Or 21-11-1 over that span. Going into today after the 3-1 yesterday that included 2 dogs, including a plus 160 dog on the men's side. Here are the picks today. The first is, and we'll start at the bottom here because it's the first one up today, Emma Raducanu. Emma Raducanu at minus 147 over Shuai Zhang. That is the first play today. It's on the ladies' side. It's at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. Emma Raducanu, you may remember, is the teenage Brit who was a sensation at Wimbledon, who ultimately ended up sort of having a breathing issue in one of her matches. She had advanced through a couple rounds at Wimbledon, and just the darling of that tournament. She has been fabulous, not only on grass, but on hard courts as well. Minus 147 over Shuai Zhang. And let me just say from me to you, not only a great tennis bet, but a tennis match to watch, if you know what I mean. Emma Raducanu, play number 1 this morning at minus 147 over Shuai Zhang. Here are the 3 dogs on the men's side. Oscar Otte, plus 160 over Dennis Kudla. Love the serve of Oscar Otte. The raw data again, 6-month hard court, 12-month hard court. bears out that Oscar Ote should not be a plus 160 dog by any stretch in this match. Then it's the American Jack Sock, plus 158 over Alexander Bublik. Two guys who really have all the potential in the world, kind of haven't met it. But Jack Sock, again, hardcore data. All of this based on the data itself, the raw numbers, serve and return of serve numbers that I cull over the calendar year. Jack Sock at plus 158 over Alexander Bublik, second pick on the men's side. And then the sensation from UCLA, gentleman who beat Roberto Bautista Agut in the opening round in a massive upset. Bautista Agut was a minus 556 favorite in the opening round against Maxime Cressy. I've got Maxime Cressy today at plus 181 over Nicolas Basilashvili, who got through the first round because Sebastian Korda had to withdraw from his match. So, yes, he played less tennis than Maxime Cressy had to. He had to go through a five-setter. But I love the data on Cressy, plus 181. And if that crowd gets behind Cressy, boy, oh boy, that's going to be fun to watch. So those are your four tennis plays today. Raducanu on the women's side. That starts in less than an hour from Flushing Meadows. We will repeat these throughout the morning because I'm sure we'll get tweets. What were your tennis picks? I missed them. All right, let's talk college football. He is ready to go. He is once again just the author, not only the author, but the creator, I should say more accurately, of SP Plus, which is a college football analytic that is used far and wide these days. Again, opponent and tempo-adjusted look at the most sustainable and predictive aspects of college football. We're thrilled to have him again. Bill Connolly on the show. How you doing, Bill?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Listen, let's start because you wrote a few great pieces at ESPN Plus. One of which was about college football 2021 SP Plus win total predictions, juxtaposed against the Vegas line. And I want to do. You also have some conference plays I want to get into, but power conference by power conference. Let's start with the SEC, and then we'll get into some of your Week 1 plays. But the SEC, you have projections, and then there's the win total, and you found the most interesting of that based on your numbers against the actual line being LSU and Tennessee. One you're very bullish on and one you're very bearish on. Explain.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to hedge on this and say that the numbers are bullish and bearish on these. I'm struggling to talk myself into them, either one all the way. But, yeah, I mean, the most noticeable differences between the SP Plus projections and the Caesars lines were Tennessee on the high side. SP Plus has them at an average of 6.9 wins, and LSU on the low side at 7.2, as opposed to 8.5 over under for LSU. So, I mean, I understand from a statistical perspective where that comes from. LSU was bad last year, barely top 50 last year, and we're just assuming that all of the reasons for that are they're going to overcome them. You know, the new coordinators will fix this, and the quarterback will be better, and so on and so forth. But we have to see it. I mean, nothing LSU can do this year is going to surprise me all that much. But then on the flip side of that, Tennessee, it just SP Plus is not designed to take drama into account, and Tennessee's kind of been nonstop drama, and so that one's hard to buy into, I guess.
By the way, I buried the headline on some of these. What is your record? What has your historical record been on looking at your SP Plus win projections through the years?
Well, I mean, honestly, I just go back each year and calibrate them. So I couldn't tell you right offhand, this bet did this well. But, I mean, it is calibrated to match preseason to postseason as well as possible. I'll say that.
Let me ask you, even going further back, how long did it take you to sort of conceive SP Plus and then hone it to where it is now?
Yeah, I mean, it started as a really simple, success rate and points per play. That's where the SP comes from back in about 2008 at Football Outsiders. But I've, the honing through the years has been pretty significant, both in the inputs and in the way the preseason projections are derived altogether. At this point, the preseason numbers come from a combination of the returning production formula that I've been pushing out for a few years now, recent history, and then a little bit of recruiting in there as well to kind of approximate the caliber of athlete that, for where you aren't returning production, the caliber of athlete that's replacing them. So, I mean, Yeah, I like the number a lot. Obviously, the big mystery for this season is, does 2020 data mean anything whatsoever? And we'll find out. We'll start finding out pretty soon whether that's the case. I tried to lean a little bit more on history and recruiting this year, just a smidge more at least. A lot for like the teams that only played 3 games. But we'll see. Everything's a little bit more mysterious this time around.
A little more mysterious. Okay, so just to clarify, Bill has Bill's numbers. Let me be clear. Bill's numbers, not Bill. Let's remove Bill from all of this. Your numbers have LSU with only an 18% chance of going over their season win total of 8. Only, or I should say, but a 63% chance for Tennessee to go over their season win total of 5.5. Okay, let's go to the Big Ten. And we'll hone in again on the team that you find the most interesting based on what the number said, and that would be Northwestern and Pat Fitzgerald.
Yeah, Northwestern fans like to brag that their team always overachieves compared to SP Plus. SP Plus never gives them enough credit. But, I mean, 2 years ago they were 4-8. They had just about the worst offense in the country, definitely the worst offense among Power 5 teams. And last year it improved just a little. They were basically about top 100 last year on offense, but that was with a quarterback who's now gone. That was with receivers who are now gone. And it's really, with Hunter Johnson starting again, maybe he's miraculously improved, but we haven't seen him play well yet in a Northwestern uniform or really any other. And so there's a reason to be very much concerned about their offense. And then just that returning production figure I talked about. While almost everybody else in the country returns more than they ever have, the national average in returning production is about 14 percentage points higher than it is in a normal year. Northwestern ranks dead last in returning production. They lost so much, and they lost their defensive coordinator, who was an incredible. I mean, Pat Fitzgerald's a good defensive mind, so maybe that doesn't flip at all. But they were particularly good defensively last year, and it overshadowed the fact that the offense had only improved a little, and now the offense is probably going to regress. So this is one I can definitely kind of buy into a little bit. It's going to take, even, by the Wizard level standard that we hold Pat Fitzgerald, it's going to take a lot for them to hit the over this year.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the quarterback being Peyton Ramsey, who is gone. You have Northwestern as only a 15% chance to exceed their season win total, to get above their season win total of 6.5. You mentioned I don't want to gloss over this, but you mentioned Northwestern fans always think your numbers kill them. What's the fan base that just comes after you the most on a perennial basis?
Yeah, I mean, well, the good news for me is, the names change from year to year just because, my numbers hate a different team every year. But Northwestern's pretty consistent. And to be honest, I mean, when they won 10 games a few years ago, they barely ranked top 50. They've been more successful than just about anybody else in close games. And clearly there's an element of coaching in there that it's going to be hard to measure, because the numbers are just going to see a team that, you can't possibly win this many close games. But occasionally, when the formula isn't right, as it wasn't in 2019, everything flips around and they lose the close games, and suddenly they're under 500. They've been under 500 4 times in the last 10 years, along with the 10 or more win season. So it's kind of an all or nothing thing for them from year to year.
Let's go to the Big 12. You have a sort of interesting take on TCU. On the one hand, only a 36% chance, your numbers, once again, Bill, your numbers only have a 36% chance of them exceeding their 7-game win total, 7-game win total. But you also think a flyer on them at 20-1 to win the Big 12 might be worth a shot.
Yeah, I mean, the odds were a little. That number stood out a little bit to me compared to where they had the other teams in the Big 12 in terms of conference title odds. It just feels like a good shot. Number one, because my numbers liked them okay. It wouldn't be the biggest surprise in the world if they shot up, finished second in the conference, and won the Big 12 title game. But I mean, the defense that they have, this conference has kind of discovered defense over the last 2 or 3 years. Lots of teams played good defense last year. TCU is still probably the best of the bunch, or second to Oklahoma maybe this year. And when you got that, when you can basically finish 500 even if your offense doesn't improve at all, and then you look in last year, 2 star freshman recruits started playing well late in the season. You can it's not hard to talk yourself into a long shot on them, just because they have the history of kind of falling back to 6-6 or 7-5, getting everything situated and charging forward again. So that's one. Yeah, the numbers Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there wasn't really a great bet, in terms of, percentage to cover or whatever, but this definitely feels like a long shot worth taking.
Baylor, you like the over on 66% chance of your numbers say to go over the season win total of 5. Dave Aranda in his second year as head coach following Matt Rule. What do you love about Baylor?
Yeah, I think just the number's really low. What are they at, 5.5? I still see that number a decent amount. They're only like a 2-touchdown favorite against Texas State this weekend. Just kind of seems, I mean, they were 2-7 last year. So, I mean, I understand the hesitancy, but 3 of those games were 1-score losses. A couple more were probably, quote, statistically closer than the score. Like everything suggests that, with their history and recruiting and everything else, and the potential for a second-year leap. This is a coach's second year is by far the most likely time that a team is going to take a 2, 3, 4-point step forward overall. Just seems like the bar, and my numbers back it up. I mean, it seems like the bar should be somewhere in the 6-7 range, not 5.5.
Yeah, 5.5 plus 105 is what I'm seeing here on Baylor. Pac-12. We have a couple minutes here before break. Pac-12. What was noteworthy about the Pac-12 is that you and the season win total, you're kind of right on with Stanford. You see that is a justifiable season win total for them.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, they've had one losing record in a very long time now. They had a winning record last year in their short season, but it was pretty lucky the way it went down, and now they've lost quite a bit of last year's team. So it's a really interesting year for David Shaw. I'll just say that. I mean, I don't know about a best bet there, but it's going to be interesting to see. The tide has kind of turned against them slowly in recent years, and now would be a really good time to rebound.
Stanford season win total at 4. And then in the ACC, just concluding the Power 5, Virginia Tech. What was your take on Virginia Tech? Why did you find them the most interesting? Narrative versus numbers.
Yeah, I mean, they've been pretty unlucky in close games in recent years. And I think, especially last year, they barely, I mean, they were pretty close to top 30 last season despite a pretty mediocre record. And they pretty much returned everybody but Khalil Herbert. Now, Herbert was probably the best player, so that might be a concern. But this really might be a case where, the overwhelming narrative of hot seat and guys transferring out and this and that, most of the important guys haven't transferred, and they seem to have pretty good overall experience and depth this year. So SP Plus, that was one that stood out. It seems it sets the bar, about almost a full win higher on average than the 7-win total.
All of these pieces, by the way, from Bill Connolly can be found at ESPN Plus, at ESPN_Bill C on Twitter. Bill, since we lost 5 minutes from you at the beginning, can I ask you to stay for 5 more? Because I want to get your Week 1 thoughts, if that's okay.
That'll work.
Bill Connolly, everybody, from ESPN. Week 1 picks. And then also, by the way, in addition to Week 1 picks, he has a couple group of 5 conference plays, maybe more than a couple, that we like to share as well, as college football begins in earnest tonight. Oh, what a weekend it will be. Of course, highlighted by Clemson and Georgia. We'll do that. Group of 5 picks and his Week 1 plays. And one of these, perhaps more than the others, will surprise you. Coming back on a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
It's crazy how much we have to pay for outdated, impersonal healthcare, and even crazier that we all just accept it. It's time to face facts. Healthcare is backwards. Luckily, there's Forward, a new approach to primary care that's surprisingly personal and refreshingly straightforward. Forward never makes you feel like just another patient. Backed by top-rated doctors and the latest tech, Forward gives you access to personalized care whenever you need it. Using in-depth genetic analysis and real-time blood work, Forward's top-rated doctors provide you with in-depth insights to better understand your genetics, mental, and physical health. They then create custom, easy-to-understand plans to help guide you to achieving long-term health. With Forward, you get unlimited in-person visits with your doctor and access to care anytime via the Forward app, all for one flat monthly fee. It's time to stop accepting backwards healthcare and start moving your health forward. Visit GoForward.com today to learn more. That's GoForward.com.
Pack your bags, because we're sending you to experience the biggest music event in the world, the 2021 iHeartRadio Music Festival. For 2 days, music's brightest stars take stage, and you and a friend could see it live. iHeartRadio has teamed up with OneOf.com to give you the ultimate trip to Las Vegas. Now through September 14th, head over to OneOf.com and claim your free limited edition iHeartRadio Music Festival digital token. Each token unlocks one entry to win. Come back every day and collect another token. The more you collect, the more chances to win. OneOf is a music-focused NFT platform where you can buy, sell, and collect unique content from your favorite artists. And unlike other NFT platforms, OneOf gives true fans power by allowing a simple credit card to make all your purchases. Visit OneOf.com now through September 14th to claim your free iHeartRadio Music Festival digital tokens. That's OneOf.com.
Millions of Americans are getting back to work. CareerBuilder calls it the great rehire. And we want to help you get the best jobs before everyone else. CareerBuilder gives you the competitive edge to get the job you want, at the salary you want, with the benefits you want. We even send job alerts, so your perfect job lands right in your inbox. Go to CareerBuilder.com today, or get left with whatever jobs are left. Find your next job fast at CareerBuilder.com.
Welcome back to A Numbers Game with Gil Alexander.
With football season just around the corner, and by around the corner, I mean tonight. It's time to get into BetMGM Sports Nevada, the premier sports betting app. BetMGM with all your favorite wagering options, along with in-game betting, boosted odds specials, and much more. Download the BetMGM app today and stop by any MGM casino on the Strip with your state-issued ID to open an account and start placing sports bets from anywhere in Nevada. Whatever your sport, whatever your style, you're going to love BetMGM state-of-the-art technology and fan-friendly specials every day of the week. Visit BetMGM for terms and conditions. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Nevada. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Bill Connolly, kind enough to join us from ESPN just for a few more minutes. Again, some group of five plays that Bill likes as well. Just wanted to mention these. Western Michigan to win the MAC. Liked it 8-1. San Diego State to win the Mountain West. 12-1 over 6.5 wins for the Aztecs as well. Memphis to win the AAC at 12-1. So much great stuff. UTEP over 2.5 wins, UMass over 1.5, Temple over 3, on and on and on. It's just great information on there. Bill, I want to ask you about week one picks, though, in our limited time. Let's start tonight, if we could, and let's do it with Ohio State. You project these. What's so great is you put on your week one picks, and you were saying on Twitter, oh, now everybody's following me. Ohio State favored by 14. How do you see this?
Yeah, I love the Big Ten schedule right out of the gates here. It's so many questions getting answered immediately, and we're going to start with Ohio State here. This is a really tricky game for them. SP Plus says Ohio State by 8.5. Minnesota is one of the teams that seems to like a lot more than Vegas overall. Like, the defense obviously fell apart last year, but the experience levels are high. The offense should be very good again. And so it only sees Ohio State struggling in this one, something in the 37-28 neighborhood. So really curious about that. Really, this will be a nice test, both of Ohio State's new starting quarterback and the fact that their defense wasn't great last year and struggled at times, and we'll see if that's improved.
Yeah, so Bill has it, 14-point spread, but Bill has it at Ohio State. Bill's numbers have it at Ohio State 37, Minnesota 28. Tomorrow, Carolina and Virginia Tech. So much has been said about North Carolina during this offseason, and then this week a lot of people are like, wait a minute, if they're so great, why are they only 5.5-point favorites against Virginia Tech? You have them covering by just a bit.
Yeah, like that. I just talked up Virginia Tech and how they might have potential, but apparently my numbers like even North Carolina even more. They have them by 6.6, 65% win probability overall. This is, we're going to find out everything we need to know about the North Carolina skill core. The Virginia Tech defense is still pretty physical, not Bud Foster level awesome, but they had a lot of turnover in the skill core. Sounds like there's been an injury or two in the receiving core as well. So this is a really, really nice first test for them. And I guess my numbers will be proven right about one team or the other here.
All of these, by the way, can be found on Bill's Twitter at ESPN_BillC. So only pick a couple more, and I'll let everybody go to your Twitter to see the rest. And as you said, time to find out the hard way of 2020. Data is worth a single damn thing. I'm most fascinated, and I think you probably were by your numbers, at Bama and Miami. What did you come up with there?
Yeah, Miami's a potential top 10 team here, and excuse me. And if Alabama has regressed at all from last season, which they were pretty much perfect last season and lost a ridiculous amount to the draft, it's theoretically they should be a little bit more down. SP Plus have this as Bama by 9.9. And basically every Miami fan who responded to that was like, yes, I'll take it. Sold. Just let's move on. 9 points would be great. But that was one of the bigger differences between line and projection. And I think it just has to do with just not knowing where the ceiling is for Alabama this early on. Posting the line out there at 19.5 when they win these season openers by an average of like 22 makes sense. But Miami could have a much higher ceiling than most of the teams they usually open the season with.
Yeah, 19.5 I'm seeing now on Bama. I mean, nobody seemingly betting on the Hurricanes, but you have Bama by 9, 33-24. And finally, marquee matchup of the week. I'm contractually obligated to speak of Clemson and Georgia. Clemson now favored by 3 across the board, and you have it at exactly that.
Yeah, Clemson by 3.3. Not a lot of betting value there, I don't think. So many put up or shut up kind of games here this weekend, and Georgia's probably the biggest one of all. I've been talking all season about, JT Daniels, 4-game sample, pretty good. And granted, it's what we were saying about Joe Burrow 2 years ago. So, hey, maybe that's a good sign. But such small samples, and the receiving corps is banged up, and we're going to learn a whole heck of a lot about Georgia.
Check it all out on Bill's Twitter at ESPN_BillC. And, of course, all of his work from SP Plus can be found at ESPN Plus season win totals and beyond. Bill, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. As always, enjoy tonight and beyond.
Absolutely.
Bill Connolly, everybody, college football writer for ESPN. We'll come back. We'll rehash the tennis picks because we race through those. And Jeff Parlay, Grover Cleveland Producers, joins me. Get his college football thoughts. He's made some season-long plays, I think. We'll find out what those are next on A Numbers Game at VEASAN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back to A Numbers Game with Gil Alexander.
Now is the perfect time to start planning your football contest strategy, and the VEASAN Pro Football Guide is the perfect way to start. Our VEASAN experts have won major football contests around Las Vegas. Salinas won the Super Contest. Brady Cannon won a Super Contest. Mitch won a Last Man Standing. It's all over the place. Our guide will give insight on Against the Spread contests as well as survivor pools to give you a winning edge. Just download the VEASAN NFL Guide today for only $19.99 or get VEASAN All Access and get everything we offer for the entire football season. Go to VEASAN.com/subscribe for all the details. It's Gil Alexander, ladies and gentlemen, in case you missed him yesterday. Producer number 8, once producer number 5, the Grover Cleveland of producers. It's Jeffrey Parlay. How you doing, Jeff?
Can I go by 5?
No, I'm sorry.
No,
there's an
is
order.
that technically? I guess you're right because Cleveland went by multiple number of presidents.
Does Grover Cleveland go by 24? No, he goes by 24 and 26.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough.
So you're 5 and 8.
Gil, it's a wonderful day. It's a wonderful day because
football,
college football is back. We're 1 week from Tom Brady and the Buccaneers pummeling the Dallas Cowboys in the first game of the NFL season.
You've seen the box score, have you?
Oh, I again, just the feel, just the feel, Gil.
But I think you
as always, it is. It's good to see your face in the morning.
Good to see you, man. And Jason Kahn, producer number 7, puppeteering for one more day. This wouldn't be possible without Jason, who's going to stick around and do my Beating the Book podcast as well. So I'm pumped about that. Real quick, let's rehash the tennis because we were having this conversation on Primetime Action. I asked Matt Brown, I was like, "Are you ready? Like, are you fully immersed in football yet?" And he's like, "No, I'm not there yet." As long as the U.S. Open is going, I am 1,000% distracted every day. Like, I cannot fully transition over to football yet. Next week, totally different story. And remember, on this network, on this show, guessing lines with Chrissy on Monday every week. Not next week, but starting week 2. Megapod every Thursday down at the D. Mike Palm, Todd Wishnev, and I, and a rotating guest every week, which will start with Brady Cannon the first week, as always. Okay. So tennis picks today, and one starts in about 24 minutes on the ladies' side. Emma Raducanu, minus 147 over Shuai Zhang. Emma Raducanu is for reals. And as I mentioned earlier, you should probably watch that match. Just want to throw that out there. Later, some men's picks. Oscar Ote plus 160 over Denis Kudla. Jack Sock plus 158 over Alexander Bublik. And Maxime Cressy from UCLA plus 181 over Nicolas Basilashvili. I gave those picks earlier and gave some brief reasoning on each, but the data supports it. I could sit here and bore you with the data. I don't know that I want to do that, but in the case of, let's take one random one. In the case of Ote versus Kudla, Ote's numbers on hard courts over a 12-month and 6-month period are pretty darn great. 103, 104. It's not elite level, but it is sort of the grouping below that. Denis Kudla, whose serve is not as good as that of Ote, his numbers run quite south of that. So that's really where in the 99, 100 range. So, again, not a massive difference, but significant enough. And Ote at plus 160 makes 0 sense whatsoever. So there you go. But that's kind of the assessments I'll make on these plays, and then I'll winnow them down based on recent form and that kind of thing. I won't play every edge that I have, but I'll play the ones that I think check a whole bunch of boxes even beyond the data. So Raducanu in about 23 minutes, minus 147 over Shuai Zhang, and then Ote, Sock, and Cressy all at dog numbers. Jeff, I mentioned this with Bill Connolly moments ago. You have a college football season-long play? What do you got?
I have one for me, Gil, and it's a Heisman Trophy future. I went in on Sam Howell. Now, I am very concerned that North Carolina is going to lose on Friday night. I am concerned about that. I don't think Virginia Tech's really that good. I understand where Bill Connolly's numbers come from on the Hokies. There's talent there. I just don't like Fuente at all. I don't think he's a good coach. But that's a really difficult spot to play.
It's a tough setting. Yeah.
And I'm curious to see how this plays out early, Gil, where you have places that had no fans or limited fans last year, and they're back in droves this year like they will be at Lane Stadium in week 1. But if North Carolina wins that game, and I think they will find a way to get it done, it's going to be because Sam Howell has a huge game. The one problem that North Carolina has, after this, the Notre Dame game is really the only other true Heisman moment game on a regular season schedule. And the problem is whenever you have a final, if you win the division in the ACC and get Clemson in the ACC title game, you could look horrible against Clemson and lose all your Heisman votes in that last week, Gil. So that's the one concern. But look, to me, that was the only quarterback that I really liked that I thought the number was fair on. I got him at 16-1. I wouldn't bet him at the 10-1s that we're seeing right now. But earlier in the summer, I got him at 16. That is the only college football bet I made just because, Gil, we know nothing from last year.
We know nothing.
I'm taking nothing from last year
other
than Alabama is still incredible.
Well,
that's the only thing I'm taking.
Well, we think, right? That's the one question with that Alabama-Miami game. And, I mean, Connolly's numbers on that were pretty off the charts,
surprising.
Right? Yeah, surprising to say the least. But we don't know. I mean, we just assume Alabama can replenish like they always do. I guess we'll see if that's the case. And it's very possible that we'll be like, oh, yeah, they did, no problem. But Sam Howell, you and Felica are aligned on Sam Howell for Heisman. Obviously a tough game at Virginia Tech. We'll see how that goes. I still think the best college football bet, and we were talking about this on Primetime last night with Matt Brown and Kelly Bidlin, whoever loses the Clemson-Georgia game, that team to win the title. I just think that's how you play it. Like with Heisman, remember, you don't have to, you don't get extra points for betting the Heisman winner before the season starts. Pick your spot. Pick a player that is coming off a down trend like you would like a dynamic season win total, a team that is coming off a bad spell that you think you can get an adjusted season win total, exploit an adjusted season win total. Remember, the way with legalized jurisdictions now is these markets are all dynamic. They exist throughout the seasons and most books, at certain books. So you don't get extra points. Again, no hero points for doing everything from before the season. One last thought, that Ben Simmons market that we put up yesterday, Ben Simmons, what his next team will be, the Warriors are the short shot at 3-1. I do not see that happening at all. Like the Draymond Green, Ben, like you're basically, what do the Warriors need? Another player that's a a point guard that doesn't score in a forward's body kind of thing. So you think, well, but they would trade Draymond Green then to get Ben Simmons. Would the Warriors ever, like with James Wiseman coming in, the 7th and 14th picks, right? Kuminga and my man Moody at 14 coming in, Clay coming back most famously. Why would the Warriors trade Draymond and then bring in the gamble of Ben Simmons? Like, I don't see the Warriors thing happening at all at 3-1. And as we discussed at different times, the Kings at 6-1, maybe the Blazers at 11-1, maybe make a lot more sense. But the short shot there, I don't see that happening at all. At all. Just seems, him and Draymond just seem like duplicating, a younger version, if you will. So, and a trade, to me, doesn't make any sense between those two guys either. We'll come back. Mark Borchard on baseball, among other things. Did Garrett Cole's performance justify him now as the Cy Young favorite? Are we back to where we were before the whole sticky substance crackdown? Even though Mark advocated Robbie Ray at 100-1, so that'll be interesting. That and more, his baseball picks tonight on A Numbers Game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows, you're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend's login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part? There's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at DirecTV.com. That's DirecTV.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package.
Hey, do you love a good story? Great. Then you got to check out the #Storytime podcast. Each episode brings you the craziest, creepiest, and cringiest stories from YouTube, TikTok, Reddit, and beyond.
I'm gonna die. Chad could already be dead, or either he was smart and didn't come down anyways.
So at a quick glance, when I was turning off the light, I saw this thing in my kitchen, and it was kind of peeping out over to me.
Question is, name something that everyone knows the size of on their body.
Look, the internet is a dumpster full of stories, and I, your host, Will McFadden, dive in head first, sift through the flaming trash, and bring you nothing but treasures.
I was like, oh, right. That would be a really bad way to tell somebody that their brother died.
I swear this happened in slow motion. The champagne flute fell into the lap of Halle Berry, completely drenching her.
Listen to all 21 episodes of #Storytime now on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to A Numbers Game with Gil Alexander.
As summer heats up, so does the sports betting action at BetMGM. Sign up now using bonus code VSiN1000. Wow, and your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. Place your bets on all the exciting showdowns. I don't know, maybe baseball, maybe soccer in the MLS, and more sports from around the globe. And when you register with BetMGM, you also get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, daily boosted odds specials, from breathtaking goals to colossal home runs. The king of sports books takes every play to a new level of excitement. Simply download the BetMGM app today or go to BetMGM.com and enter bonus code VSiN1000 to get back up to $1,000 on your very first wager. New customer offer, paid in free bets, eligibility restrictions apply. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Promotional offer not available in Nevada. Skill Alexander, Jeffrey Parlay, producer number 8. Grover Cleveland of producers, is with me as well. We'll talk to Mark Borchard here momentarily, baseball picks. But first, we get tweets at Beating the Book. I have a feeling I know what these are going to be overrun with. Frank Stein, give me any excuse to bet Raducanu so I can watch. And you stole the words out of my mouth. I said nothing. I just said maybe you should watch. David Chalafor, thanks, Mr. Tennis, for the picks. If you give start times, it's easier to find them. Okay. Man, we put them on the screen. I should spell them, though. I really should spell them. This will be a show of spelling names. John Parker, Gil, the U.S. Open website is showing second-round start times of 12 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon. I'm guessing due to weather last night. Good luck with picks. Appreciate you. Thank you, John. Listen, after yesterday where we thought everything was going to be canceled, who knows when anything starts at this point. So I'm just going to go ahead with the original start times that Raducanu plays at the top of the hour. If she happens to play an hour later, so be it. But thank you for that. C.D. Bradley, I'm in a meeting. Can you tweet out the tennis picks? Okay, we'll do that. Shout out for Bill Connolly there. Jason Stark, please post the tennis picks. Listening, but they're impossible to find that quickly. Thanks. Here's a Craig Parlay who's tweeting in. Do you know who this guy is, Jeffrey? Do you know who this is?
I have an idea.
Okay. Craig Parlay. By the way, I think it's pronounced Parles. We'll check on that. For NFL fans of a certain age, referring to Jeff as Grover Cleveland is far better than calling him the Marion Campbell of producers. Falcons fans from the 70s and 80s will understand. Craig Parlay, you sprung from his loins, correct? Can we say it that way?
I guess so.
Okay, all right. I didn't want to be creepy about it, but okay. Gab Friel, can you please tweet the tennis picks? So it's really just overrun with tennis. So what are we going to do? We keep doing it on the show, but then we will post them on Twitter, but we might miss the Raducanu start if we do that after the show. So I don't know.
There will be Gil.
Yeah.
I will tell the great listeners right now. The tennis picks will be on the tweets shortly.
There you go. I like that. Tommy Rowe, just verifying that you said Emma Raducanu minus 150 was your pick. Well, I got her minus 147 last night, but you should still play her at minus 150. My radio was in and out, kind of missed it. Yes, that's who I said, Raducanu. So you can play it at minus 150. All right, let's shift to baseball. This gentleman is in an undisclosed location somewhere in the desert. One day we will find him. One day he will emerge. I just don't know when that day is. Probably after October. It's Mark Borchert, base winner. How you doing, Mark?
Gil, I'm doing good, man. Looking forward to the finish of this season. It's been really exciting, and it's so good that we have something to compare it to, because I compared this season to last season when there was no fans in the stands. They played 60 games, and man, we got some good pennant races here. NL West, NL East. It's a cool time, and I'm looking forward to this month. Not for football, for baseball, Gil.
You know what I love about that's what I love about you, Mark. You are Rob Manfred's dream. You, through all of it, through the sticky substances, through the muted run environment, through just the haves and the have-nots, the chasm widening, you have stayed as enthusiastic about the sport as ever, and I appreciate that about you, man. Good for you. I love it.
Well, there's some things that they could do a little bit better, i.e. the strike zone. Having the box on the screen when you can see, like a Cedric Mullins yesterday, you can see that pitch was inside, and it's a ball.
Yeah,
and they call. So I'm waiting for one of these players to draw the outline of the box when they leave. Draw the outline of the box and then point to the outside the box. I'm waiting for somebody to do that, because that would be cool. That'd be worth getting ejected on. But anyway,
didn't Cedric Mullins get walked eventually anyway on that at bat, the one that you're referring to?
No, it was the second. I think it was the second out of the top of the ninth inning.
Oh, that was a different at bat, because I think there was another one earlier where he had a ball 4 and he needed a ball 5 to take his base. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I watched that at bat too. I know which one you're talking about. But anyway, that could be done a little bit better. But they do a lot of things right. The media, the TV, being able to watch 4 different games on your computer at one time is unbelievably awesome.
Give MLB that. They were always ahead on the internet and streaming and video. Their technology is used by many. I mean, they were well ahead of the curve on that. Let's get into some of the bets here. AL Cy Young last night. Garrett Cole goes 7 innings, gives up 4 hits, 1 earned run, 15 Ks, no walks. He is your favorite to win the AL Cy Young, and that is justified again, is it not? Mr. Robbie Ray at 100-1?
Yeah, as much as I'd like to see Robbie Ray win this, I think Cole is a deserving winner of this as it stands right now. And I use this base winner ERA as kind of the key number that I use. And if you look at Cole, he's at 2.59, and if you look at Ray, he's at 3.20. So there's a big chasm there. Some of the numbers were really close. The strikeout numbers really close. The DraftKings points scored were really close, and until last night when Cole he got 45 DraftKings points last night.
Jeez.
So and so I think that as biased as I am about that 100-1 play, to be perfectly upfront, Cole deserves that, right, as it stands right now. So I think that Ray would have to have like double-digit strikeouts his last 3 starts, and then Cole would have to just really bomb out for Ray to beat him. But do I get place points? Do I get points for the place?
I'm not sure that's how this works. I'm not sure how this racket works, but that would be interesting. Let's give Mark some bonus just for being involved in it. By the way, I'm not seeing the Cy Young market rampantly posted right now. It was last night, but I'm wondering if the Cole performance sort of had everybody take it down for a second. But he was in the minus money last I saw. And we go back to that very awkward, very uncomfortable press conference when the crackdown on sticky substances began, and Garrett Cole was kind of the face of like, hey, what's going on? That's my interpretation of the press conference. But essentially, he was right about one thing. Like, we give him a lot of crap for that press conference, but he was right about the fact that regardless of how you feel about it, you shouldn't change rules middle of a season. And so I'm almost like glad to see him bounce back like this in a certain way, because I think he got like an overwhelming amount of flack that wasn't entirely justified.
Yeah, that's like when you're on the playground and you're like, no, that's not that was the rule, but that's not the rule now. I'm changing the rule. And I agree with that. And it's pretty amazing what he's done his last 5 starts. I have that 3-metric chart that takes swinging strike percentage, converts it to expected strikeout rate, hard hit per 9, and expected walk rate. And his percentile starts his last 5 times out. He's got an 82 percentile, a 90 percentile, 86 percentile, a 93 percentile, and a 98 percentile, which was the 73rd best outing of the year last night. Close to 4,000 total outings, 3,954 total outings amongst all major league pitchers. So it was a really outstanding outing last night, and I unfortunately I was hoping he'd get bombed.
Of course you
were. Robbie Ray would move up in the standings, but he's been really good. So whatever he's done to adjust for the substance issue has worked for him. He's really been pretty good.
Yeah, Robbie Ray, Mark Borchers came on this show maybe 4 to 6 weeks ago. Someone then said Robbie Ray 100-1 to win the Cy Young, and we snickered. And he is right in the thick of that conversation. We'll see if Cole changed that narrative last night. All right, only 8 games in Major League Baseball today, but you have 2 plays nonetheless. What do you got?
Yeah, there's a couple really good plays, and this one was amazing to me. And I'm going to go with the Cleveland Indians on the first 5 minus 120. And if you look at this game like from a macro standpoint, you're like, okay, you got Minor, he's a 4.49 base winner ERA, and you got McKenzie, he's a 4.78 base winner ERA. One of the things recently, McKenzie has been pretty amazing. His walk rate for the year is 44% worse than average, but it's been really good his last 4 starts. And to kind of give you the magnitude of McKenzie's last 4 starts, we'll give him all of August starts. He's a 68 percentile against Toronto, and then he goes 92nd percentile versus Oakland, 98 percentile versus Detroit, and 99 percentile versus the Angels. And to kind of give you perspective, the last 2 McKenzie starts by that 3-metric chart were better than Cole's start last night. So I'm pretty pumped up to get with McKenzie. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped up to get with McKenzie tonight. His expected strikeout rate for the month of August was at 33% by that chart. And I think that's a pretty good play. Going to play it on the first 5 innings and hope he's as dominant as he has been in his last 2 starts.
Yeah, I don't know how many people we can get to watch a game between the Tribe and the Royals here in early September, but you made a pretty passionate reasoning as to why people should bet it anyway. Cleveland, first 5 minus 20 on McKenzie, going up against Minor and the Royals. And pick number 2, sir.
I'm going to go with Philly on the full game, and I got it at minus 155. My model has it at minus 187. And if you look from a macro standpoint, the pitchers we actually get a really good advantage with Nola. I've got him at a 94 percentile pitcher overall by that 3-metric chart, and Espino at a 57 percentile. And then if you cruise over to basewinner.com, I've got, and this is interesting, Aaron Nola's base winner ERA is 3.37. His actual ERA is 4.3. So there's a big gap between his expected ERA and his actual ERA. And then Espino's kind of the opposite. His actual ERA is 4.42. His base winner ERA 4.75. So I think we get an advantage there. And if you look at two of Nola's starts, of his last 4, they've been in the 99th percentile, better than Cole as well. So,
okay.
I think we've got some pretty good starting pitching, and for those reasons, I'm going with Philly and Cleveland.
You won't go broke betting against the Nats bullpen, that's for sure. Yes, no answer. Would you bet the Cardinals to get to the playoffs at 11-1? Yes or no? No, he says. All right, Mark Borchert.
I actually have the probability.
I got to run, Mark. We'll get that off air and we'll report it. Thank you, sir. Coming back, unscripted with the crack man, Mark Borchert, everybody. On the other side, unscripted next.
Summer heats up, so does the sports betting action at BetMGM. Sign up now using bonus code VEASAN1000 and your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. Place your bets on all the exciting showdowns in MLB, MLS, and more sports from around the globe. And when you register with BetMGM, you'll also get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. From breathtaking goals to colossal home runs, the king of sportsbooks takes every play to a new level of excitement. Simply download the BetMGM app today or go to BetMGM.com and enter bonus code VEASAN1000 to get back up to $1,000 on your very first wager. New customer offer, paid in free bets. Eligibility restrictions apply. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Promotional offer not available in Nevada. New to VEASAN, the best way to learn more about sports betting and how VEASAN can help you is to sign up for our free daily email. You'll receive an email every morning with show highlights and expert insights. Sign up for free today at VEASAN.com/email. That's VSIN.com/email.
If you didn't catch VEASAN last week, here's some of what you missed.
The Washington football team, I get the feeling Chris is not so high on them. Chris? The Washington football team, what do you think?
WFT or the WTF for this club?
Well, people that are expecting them to win the division, how many times are they favored this year?
Yeah, not very many.
3 or 4, depending on the sports book. And you're going to bet them over 8.5 and to win the division? I mean, are you Looney Tunes? Last year, they faced one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. Not only was it easy, but they had a +8 rest advantage. Now they come into this year playing a first-place schedule. They have one of the worst, I think either number 1 or number 2 worst rest schedule disadvantages at -14. That's a 20-game difference. Let's take a look at their schedule. Okay. Chargers. Yep. They're supposed to be much improved. So they open against the Chargers. That's a hit or miss. It's a 50-50 shot. Hold on one second.
Well, you've got it there on the graphic there. If you look up there on the screen, you got the Chargers, then the Giants,
so the
then
Giants,
at the Bills.
Right. So you've got the Giants. So those are both,
Pack your bags because we're sending you to the 2021 iHeartRadio Music Festival. iHeartRadio has teamed up with OneOf.com to give you the ultimate trip to Las Vegas. Now through September 14th, claim your free limited edition iHeartRadio Music Festival digital token every day on OneOf.com. The more you collect, the more chances to win. Visit OneOf.com now to claim your free iHeartRadio Music Festival digital tokens. That's OneOf.com.
The stories that are affecting the Black community are being covered on the Black Information Network. Not a show or a podcast, BIN is a 24/7 news network covering stories from a Black perspective. Listen to the Black Information Network on the iHeartRadio app and get news for and by the Black community. Anywhere, anytime. Keeping you informed, keeping you engaged. The Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.